But I feel like that's why it's so important to not only be real with yourself, but have people in your corner who are going to be real with you. Because, like, you know, players like us, I feel like, you know, obviously we'll all have the opportunity to play in the NFL, God willing, but there's just certain players who, you know, they at some point down the line, they start to notice, dang, it might, after college, this might be it. So I feel like, you know, that kind of plays a big role in what you decide to, or what route you decide to go on.
And you see those guys too. You can tell.
Yeah.
And a lot of people know. A lot of them do know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dude, the worst is those same guys, but they don't realize they're not going to have a chance at the NFL, or like, God forbid, an injury happens and they don't. And then, you know, they did I don't know, like a major that doesn't apply really to any job. I don't want to bash like a major or something. You know what I'm saying? Right. I don't know. And then that kind of goes into like the paying student athletes and like the name, image, likeness thing. But like, I just see that all the time, bro. Yeah. I just feel like that's the majority of dudes. Say like, I'm a guard at Ole Miss and I'm in a major that's not going to get me a job. And like, my whole goal is to play in the NFL. And I mean, I'm hitting my head every day, so I'm probably going to have CT at some point. And then I get out of Ole Miss, I don't get picked up at all. And like, now what do I do? I think of that all the time, bro. Like, that stuff's awful.
Yeah.
Like,
scary.
I mean, all of us, like.
I mean, I think I had this conversation with my dad, and I'm all for the NIL stuff. He just said that a lot of people are going to get taken advantage of, which I feel like holds some truth to it, because, you know, like, there's certain guys on the team that are like close with their families, and, you know, they're home often, and they've got a great support system at home, and there's some guys that are like really out here on their own. Yeah. And, you know, who's to stop them from getting themselves really dug in deep with like a marketing agency or some sort of marketing deal where they get paid up front and they're supposed to have some percentage come off in the back end, and it doesn't happen, and they don't know how that stuff works. So I think like a good idea would definitely be financial literacy courses for athletes pre like NIL or during, you know, whatever, at least offer that as an option. I think like the course that's being taken over the summer could have been used like probably more efficiently to be some sort of financial literacy or NIL education. What rights are you getting back? Because I think a lot of people think that it's like some gift is being given to you. It's like, nah, you just get your God-given right back literally to your own face, you know, your own name, you know, and the usage of your image.
Yeah, I think schools will have to do a good job of like being a mediating force, like trying to keep guys away from scams and stuff. Because like, say you ball out your freshman year, you're 18, like you don't know who's who, what's what. Right. Like, you could easily get taken advantage of for sure.
Well, even coming in now, that's gonna be a topic in recruiting.
Oh, game changer.
How well do you guys market? How well do you protect your players?
Well, the city you're in is about to be way more important than it ever was. Right. So like, I could see us in LA, UCLA, University of Miami down there. Like, I don't know what other big market exists. Like, there's no real team in New York City. But like cities like that, dude, game changers. Like, you can see a USC come back to like what we were like during the Leinart Reggie Bush days. A go back to like early 80s. I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think that once one place opens it up, then everybody has to.
Well, dude, Florida's opening up this summer.
They're gonna have such an advantage in recruiting.
It's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I probably would have swayed you guys too. Like,
you told me I could go make money through my college career. At one school, not all.
And not at the others. That makes a big difference.
Yeah, without a doubt.
One place you can, like, Johnny.
Or at a group of schools better yet, bro. Like,
I mean, is it
if
Florida?
It's only in Florida, like
Florida schools?
Bro, I'm going to. If you're like a 5-star quarterback and you have you could go to any school in Florida. You could go to Florida State and be the GOAT, the poster child,
right?
And that's money, like a lot of money coming in.
It would definitely change the way people make decisions.
Stupid money. Johnny just said he made like $30K on one autograph signing after the Heisman.
Manziel.
And then he said he went back. And then he said, "Is that the one where he said the dude told him he got ripped off?"
Yeah, he got ripped off, which is to your point.
Because he probably signed a ton of stuff worth way more.
Dude, he signed like, I don't know. His estimate was like a few thousand articles of like helmets and jerseys and stuff. And how much did they pay him? Like a few $100 or like $3,000 I think.
$3,000.
$3,000.
And it was worth like tens of thousands.
Yeah. So they were
I mean, that's a good example.
Somebody told him that they had somebody else that had way more money for him.
Yeah.
If all he had to do was show up and sign stuff in the living room. He said he signed like thousands of pieces though.
Really?
Like thousands of pieces.
That's a good living, bro. $30K a pop.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got market opportunities. Then like people could start monetizing their Instagrams.
Right.
That's
and it
huge.
gives you like some money in your pocket. I don't know what like.
Oh yeah.
I get being a broke college student, but I mean,
Bro,
particularly
it's
at
not
this
even
school,
right sometimes.
bro. At this school, it's like
It's ridiculous.
athletes tend to be the broke college students, and that's no slight to the students, but it's a private
on
institution
average,
that costs a ton of money.
Student
to go
athletes,
through every
especially
year.
football players, come from.
That's a huge student loan to take out. You know, usually someone's coming up with that money if you're going here. It's.
And then the worst part about it is, like, if there's one error in the processing stage, like when they're sending you your check, bro, like you don't really, we don't have enough money to kind of like lean over, bro.
It was late this month.
This is off top. This is like off camera, but I still haven't got my fucking check from last month, bro. Like, what type of shit is that?
I heard you talking to Gordon about it.
Yeah.
It's not even right.
Yeah, man, but I just feel like...
Right, because, like, literally, so, like, you've contributed a ton to the football team, like, our wins, and, like, USC football obviously makes millions of dollars. So, like, I don't know, there might be a way to calculate how much does, like, Chris Steele on his own contribute to USC football's earnings. And it's probably, like, a large sum. And then now you're telling me that... like you're scrambling, like, you need the stipend, like to pay rent type stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like those two don't make sense. Like it's the whole Shabazz Napier. Remember that when he was at UConn, the point guard, and so he played point guard at UConn when they were like cold in like the NCAA tournament, March Madness, and then he went up to a reporter and he was like, "Hey, I'm going to bed hungry." Like there's not. This was before like NCAA was allowed to give you snacks. And he was a big name, so like he on his own created the like Shabazz Napier rule, where NCAA athletes are now allowed to get snacks, like thanks to him, because everyone just created an uproar. They're like, "Dude, you're making the NCAA and UConn so much money, and you're going to bed hungry.
Yeah.
This makes zero sense."
Bro, it's so messed up. It's like actually ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean, the NCAA rules, it's just like. Doesn't even make sense.
And then it's like you always got those people on the team who, they may not be able to call back home and be like, "Hey, Mom, they're late on my check. Can you send me $100?" Not everybody could do that. So you got some people that are literally, like, on the weekend when Galen's not open, bro, some people might be hungry if they didn't manage their money right.
100%.
So, I don't know. I just feel like we shouldn't be. We put too much into the program to not be able to get something.
Well, too much money's made.
Yeah. We put too much.
All the people that make money though are like.
How would you guys feel about a system where, like you're saying, how do you calculate how much you guys gave to the program? Like, how do you calculate that? Like, what would you think about instead of like on a weekly basis, monthly basis, yearly basis, you went by when you leave USC football, they basically pull a series of earnings and then they dish it out. Like, how would you feel about that kind of a system where it's like, okay, you did your work, now it's on to the next, but you still get a big chunk? Or would you want that like stipend? What do you guys think about that?
I think that would be a lot better. To Bruce's point, because he mentioned earlier, having some, you could have a 17-year-old, 18-year-old. Juju was 17 for his first 4 games at USC, I think. So you could have a 17-year-old at USC making a large sum of money, and he may not know what to do with it. But if you do put it up, if there's like if it's put up till he leaves USC, and then it's kind of calculated after that, and it's like that
doesn't make sense.
At that point, you're a grown man. You know what to do with your money. If you mess it up, it's your fault. But
but Juju scores 3 touchdowns. He wins the game for USC. The whole coaching staff, that each of them are making, either hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. So all of them are keeping their jobs. And then Juju goes to bed hungry, can't pay rent. Like, that to me doesn't make sense.
I feel
that
you.
scenario. You know what I'm
I think
saying?
us as players, we're trained to walk on eggshells about this topic, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think there's something to be said about keeping humble, though. Like, you go to college, like you said, it's all about the game. It's not about like the bells and the whistles of a program. It's like you show up, they play good ball, and that's all you want to do is be your best. And if you want to go to the NFL, you can, be monetized or you can monetize your experience. But it's like there's something to be said about, I think, staying humble through the process and being like, I'm here to play football and to get an education. But it's like, if you can benefit financially from that, hell yeah. But like,
it's not about
how is
being
it most
humble.
efficient? I know. I just mean like,
you're saying
being an amateur, being an amateur athlete. I'm not going to school so someone can hand me money to play football because I love it. It's like I go because I love it and have an experience to get an education. Right. And from there, if I can get paid as a result, absolutely. But I feel like making decisions based off of that, I don't know. I
think the issue is the age thing.
Yeah.
Like when you're a minor, then it's for the love of the game. But some people turn 18 and they're on their own. Right. So you're put in a position where you might not be able to go to the league. You're also taking a large sum of your hours throughout the day and putting it towards the sport, whereas another kid might, take the time off to go do an internship or, network themselves really well, travel.
Or just spend time with family.
Things of that nature. And I think you put a value on the takeaway that an athlete has, their day versus a normal student's day. It's like normal students are like, be appreciative, you have what we have. Well, my schedule is built around when practice is, not around when my classes are, not around what classes I want to take. That's the sacrifice you make as an athlete. So it's more so putting a value on, I'm making a sacrifice more than the average student to make money for the school that the students go to.
Yeah.
I think that everybody's deserving of a piece of that. I would even fall on the sword and say, hey, make it a blanket bottom. So if that means that a little bit more liberal way of looking at it, but I think that a guy that might not make money off name, image, and likeness should deserve a piece of the pie too, because they're putting in the same grind.
Yeah. It's the same amount of work.
The scout guy across the way from me, he's still taking all the reps, but
I just think they have to establish a really good system of how they're going to do it. And it's got to be efficient and effective because, like you said, if they go about this the wrong way, they screw something up in the process. You might not get that check that week and be expecting it. So I feel like they better be efficient and effective, especially based on the school. Like Mo was saying, the location, all of those are huge,
I think their snap judgment might be, okay, if you want to make money off your image, then no more stipend. We're going to look at you as an employee of the school and a student.
Honestly, I'd be so fine with that.
But would a walk-on or not a walk-on, but with somebody who's
hasn't played yet.
No, but there'd be at that point, if we do it like that, there would be so many people that would have the opportunity to make money without the stipend that you give the walk-on stipend checks.
Yeah, it does make room for other money. Team. Yeah.
Or I think everyone gets the same percentage, and then the big name guys who are able to monetize off their NIL, then that goes on top of that. And so the guys with the biggest names, the followings, and careers are all going to be the guys that get the most. But even the low tier, walk on, scout team guys, they still get a certain percentage because they're still contributing to the team.
Right. Yeah, like the NFL. Like a practice squad player.
Exactly.
There's a minimum, and then like a Tom Brady, for example, he's making more off the field than he is on the field because of his marketing opportunities. So.
I think that the way it was built, it just looks like it's hard to do from here. Because when you're starting from what we have now and the way we view amateurism and the way we view a collegiate athlete versus in reality, we're collegiate athletes, but we're also just adults in college. This is how your time is being spent. You're spending your time educating yourself in the classroom, and you're playing a sport on the side. People do that all the time. Some people work a job and are getting their degree. That happens in the real world. So why is it that particularly in college is there some removal of that usage of it? You can use it in literally anything else.
And we know, using Instagram as an example, we know all the IG models, girls that even go to USC, making tons of money just off of advertisements. You see them going on their stories, sponsoring bikinis and all this stuff. Each of those stories are a few $1,000. Yeah, bro. Each one of those is probably like 5K a story. It depends. It's like a ratio depending on like how many followers you have. A post,
Yeah, bro.
Maybe 10K.
There was a girl that has me on her close friend or on her private Snapchat, and she had posted something earlier today where she has a photo. She's a model. She has a photo shoot with Puma.
Yeah.
Or I want to say she had a photo shoot with some company, but it was some. I could be over exaggerating a little bit, but it was somewhere like it was between 5,500 and 6,500 a day.
For the shoot or the post?
For the shoot.
Okay.
To go take pictures for 3 hours ridiculous. For 4 days. You make 20 racks at minimum.
And God forbid a student athlete did that, bro.
Oh my god. The
whole program.
Let me
go
take
down.
pictures for Nike.
Shoot, let me work a job.
Literally.
My, exactly.
Let me work a job,
bro. Let somebody let her buy me a burger.
Yeah.
I would get in trouble.
Yeah,
it's against the rule. It's stuff like that. It's like, what are you protecting at that point? You want the people to admire you from afar until they see you up in person, and they can't, yeah, they paid some money for the ticket, but you were the show. You know what I mean? And they see you in person, they're like, oh shoot, when I see people I admire, I would do something nice for them. You know what I mean? That's just nature.
There's just so much stuff that doesn't really make sense, because even when you think about like having to pay for haircuts for a trainer, like there's some people who had the same barber since they were little kids, been getting free haircuts their whole life. Now that I get to college, you're gonna tell me I can't do that anymore. That or I can't train with my uncle who's a trainer. I have to pay my uncle to train me. I don't know. There's just stuff like that doesn't really.
I mean, I'll give you an example. Even with this podcast, like obviously it's new. Like we just started. Like it's little relative to like the big ones. Like we've had like people DM us like wanting to sponsor, and I'm just like I can't take the money.
Right.
Like hopefully soon something changes, but till then, and like thank God I don't need the money. Like I'm very lucky to have a supportive family and whatever, and like we're doing this for fun.
Right.
But I mean, there could be a scenario where like someone did need it and they'd be screwed. So
it's facts.
Yeah.